carry.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, joined by Maxlor and Hans Sama. They did it after one of the craziest days in World Group Stage history, Hans Sama. What are your first thoughts? What do you feel after doing that heroic day and making it to quarters?
It also feels amazing for me to play my first year in the CS to make Worlds. It was like a huge step for first. And getting into out of group, it feels pretty damn good. And I'll definitely try out my life for the next part.
Yeah, because this is only the beginning. Now, Max, you said when I talked to you on the first days you played, yeah, you got to be there to win everything. You can't go in with a loser's attitude. So, I mean, now the sky is the limit, it seems. But can you first tell me how much it took from you guys after this marathon of a day, those ups and downs, to finally do it?
It took everything we got, pretty much. We had to, we had so many losses today, actually. I didn't even think we could make it at some point, but you have to fight those thoughts, and everyone on your team has to fight those thoughts, and especially after we lost the WE, you have to instantly refresh and refocus, and it basically took everything we had, yeah.
I can imagine. For the funny side, of course, people they're saying, well, you didn't win versus WE, so you could finish off with the power of Evil Power versus TSM, but I'm sure that wasn't the case. I'm sure the stress was really high, and Hans Sama, on the EU finals, we heard that you guys were quite stressed. How did you manage to keep it under control? Do you feel you've grown throughout this day?
I would say I've grown throughout this day, yeah. I feel less pressure since a while, since the playoff started. I play with mind to not think a lot and play with huge confidence. And for now that worked pretty well, I kind of stepped up in my opinion, and I'm able to carry games now.
You had some fantastic performances. The one-year plan is all we heard. Getting to Worlds. What's the next step, Maxlor?
I want to go home and enjoy my nuggets. So I don't know about you.
You mean home? You still got some matches to play, Max.
Oh, I mean, I'm going to go home in the hotel.
Okay,
yeah.
and enjoy the nuggets.
Yeah, of course.
To jump on that one-year plan, though, you guys have had a great support staff, and I feel like some of those people have done a lot of work behind the scenes to get you here. Hussein, to call out one, how has the crew helped you out on this day and through group so far?
Everyone helped. So even our strategic coach, Kiva, you might know him from Origin, and also people in the background like our analyst Empire and our mental sports psychologist that can't be here with us, but God bless wherever he is. But yeah, all these people deserve praise. But honestly, I don't think we should relax because, as I said before, I think we should go in with a winning mindset. And today we lost some games that we shouldn't have, or we had some situations that we never encountered before and we lost because of it. So we need to learn from our mistakes since we're going to play a Seed 1 team, and hopefully we'll fix our mistakes and smash them.
All right, you guys are very calm after such an epic day. I guess you also lost a lot of energy. Is there any final words you'd like to say to the Misfits fans and all the EU fans that you've made very proud? Hans Sama?
Thanks very much for cheering for Misfit, and we hope that we're not going to deceive you. We're going to try our best.
Max?
Misfits fighting!
Misfits fighting. Well, thank you guys very much. Congratulations. Misfits is making it to the quarterfinals. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Shocks. Hats off to Hans Sama, Maxlor, and the entirety of the Misfits organization for what they've achieved, and who knows what else they might achieve at this point, ending their group stages 4 and 3. Dashing the hopes of North American fans everywhere. TSM in ruins now, 3 and 4, out of the tournament. I mean, these guys have just shown up, and they've blown everything wide open. They're going to change minds in a similar way to the Gigabyte Marines.
And I'm glad that we got to see this game as well, to remove all doubt. Misfits 100%.
I never doubted.
Crumbs never doubted.
All right, we bow down to Crumbs. All right,
ain't no thing, start coming.
Kobe, but continue your point.
The Misfits 100% deserve their quarterfinal spot, and TSM do not. Congratulations to Crumbs as well for his perfect prediction of number 1 and 2 spots.
Thank you. You're not going to... there we go. There we go.
The concession. But let's talk about this roster of guys and what they've done here. Again, we saw adaptation from TSM in this game a little bit, indexing a little bit more towards that early game, even putting their trust in the player that had been performing well throughout the tournament. It just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it was all focus on Hanser, and I really want to put a magnifying glass also on Maxlor. You know, they tried to split the map, they invaded the blue buff, they had, Misfits had vision of TSM doing this, and Maxlor had to make the choice. I either go, don't get 3-buffed, I can trade blue, or he decides to go and gank the top lane, burn the flash off of Hanser, and that forced Sven to babysit Hanser. So even when Hanser was going even in his lane, Sven was unable to participate in the mid lane, to participate in the bot lane, and Maxlor just ran the gauntlet on him.
But I also want to highlight how bizarre the draft from TSM was. Tristana being such a key champion for Doublelift, forget about it. They go with Kog'Maw, not sure why. And then the Jace. Why are you picking all of a sudden the carry into the top in Game 7?
You wanted adaptation.
You shouldn't even be playing this game, and you're saving it for now? Why haven't you played this pick earlier? This is a champion and a strategy that arguably the best team in the tournament is running as one of their primary strategies, so obviously it works. If you're using it now, you just are saying, well, somebody's doing it. We might as well try it.
You didn't want them to stick to their old strategy. You don't want them to use a different strategy.
No, I'm thinking Renekton, not Jace.
Okay.
What? Yeah.
There were perhaps some other options for TSM. At the end of the day, it's all moot. They didn't perform with the composition that they picked. We probably would have liked to have seen adaptation out of them sooner in the tournament. It doesn't happen. But I want to focus on this Misfits squad and the task they have ahead of them. Maxlor said himself they are going to have to play a 1 seed. The road doesn't get any easier. But if this team has proven anything to us, it's that they will learn. They have learned. Within the duration of just these 2 weeks, their improvement has been marked.
And it's that they came to win, and they're not playing not to lose, if that makes sense. It feels
absolutely.
like a lot of these teams are playing like this very defensive style where they just kind of wait and swell up, and then they just want to roll over someone in a late game. No, Misfits come crashing in forward. They say we're going to win from minute 1, and we're going to win from minute 55.
Kobe?
Yeah, I mean, the team that's picking Thresh and Blitzcrank in the Ardent Sensor meta is definitely there playing to try and win, to try and upset, you know, to try and create something else.
And that has so much value in this tournament because you need to be making mistakes for you to learn. TSM never attempted anything and never got to learn, whereas the Misfits always shooting for more. Okay, you messed up against WE, you messed up against TSM, but they kept learning and compounding upon their mistakes so that then every single match they become that much better and they're able to adapt on the fly, which is something that we thought they weren't going to be able to do that well. But hey, they did it here, especially with Maxlor's pathing adaptation, which was just brilliant.
After that tiebreaker win, it will be Misfits Gaming advancing to the quarterfinals along with Team WE. Let's also highlight TSM, who are 1 win away from making it to the knockout stage. We look at Group A, who takes the stage tomorrow, and the reigning champions SKT are undefeated at the top. No surprise there, with C9 leading the race for second, ahead of AHQ and EDG. Tomorrow we get our final quarterfinalists, starting things off with a clash between SKT and AHQ at 12 p.m. local time. That's 9 p.m. Pacific time and 6 a.m. Central European Summer Time. The teams in Group A will play 3 games each, with our knockout draw coming up at the end of the day.
And the thing is we could have a very similar situation for EDG that we did for TSM today. Yes, they're starting, you know, from a much larger deficit than all of the expectations from TSM from week 1, but it's still the #1 seeds from NA, the #1 seeds from CN, and they could theoretically drop out tomorrow.
Yeah, on top of that, I mean, you've got C9, the last hope of NA, sitting at 2-1. So in prime position to make it out behind SKT, even more so than TSM, who was sitting in that 3-way tie coming in.
But TSM, or rather Cloud9, have looked much better at adaptation throughout the tournament than any other team from North America. And on top of that, they also play the early game a little bit more aggressive. They're willing to make mistakes. They're willing to be aggressive and try to seize a win, which is the traits that we're looking for these teams. Somebody that is trying to not just be here and cruise by. They're trying to say, hey, can we shoot a game? At least the fact that they're saying we can take a game off SKT is enough to inspire confidence and say, hey, they're prepared, or they're shooting for the stars.
I was talking to Contracts, and he actually said the same thing as Maxlor after I congratulated him on one of their wins and finishing the group #2.
Right.
He said, we're not looking for #2. They're looking to win the entire thing and actually come out as a seed 1.
You got to have that mentality.
Awesome of a storyline would it be that TSM fall, and it's the team that, you know, has kind of recently been struggling to take down TSM that can be the last pride for North America and make it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the NA, that's the NA rivalry, right? That is TSM, C9, and CLG sometimes sliding in there. But really, it's C9 TSM. Kobe, any more thoughts?
I mean, we've been in this situation before where Cloud9 is NA's last hope. See if they can pull it off this time.
I mean, and also, too, the interesting thing about tomorrow's games, we heard Rusty talking about it. You can't really be a team that rests on your laurels and sits back and hopes to get to the late game unless you're the best team in the world. Well, we might get a look at that team tomorrow. We'll see. I'm not necessarily calling SKT definitively the best team in the world, but they are the team that is typically best at absorbing pressure. So the question is, will any of these other teams be able to break that?
SKT do get the pass of just being SKT, so we basically accept all their mistakes and saying, all right, well, unless you show us something awful.
But that comes from faith and adaptation, right? Because
Yes.
in previous tournaments, when they do make a mistake, we see them learn from it, unlike, for example, what TSM has most recently shown us.
I mean, EDG came pretty damn close to getting a game off SKT with that 10,000 gold lead. So, you know, there's definitely a shot for a team taking a game there.
All right, one more day of action, 6 more games, plus maybe some spice breakers. Who knows? Be sure to hit us up at LOL Esports with your world's big plays from the week, as we'll highlight them after tomorrow's games. Remember to stay tuned for Worlds Tonight with Freak, Rusty, and Kobe, starting in just a few minutes as we take a look at the day's games. Now, for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for more Worlds 2017. Good night.